Uprooted Theatrical Studios presents.
It's 10 Tips Tuesday.
Hey friends. So a little while ago we asked you what you wanted to learn about. And the responses were apprenticeships and internships. And so last week was apprenticeships, which means this week we are going to give you 10 tips on how to get an internship. Enjoy. Hello, I am Madison Bailey. So I interned at MoxieArts NYC, which at the time that I was there was called THML. And it is a small theater company based in New York City. And Kayla Friend, who did a 10 Tips Tuesday a few weeks ago, runs it. It is an incredible company. You should absolutely go see a show they put on after the pandemic is over. So, my 2 tips. My first tip is know what you want. It's going to make your internship searching process 10 times easier. There's so many different kinds of internships. Most companies have like 4 or 5 different types, like admin and marketing and literary internships, and sometimes distribution and production, etc., etc., etc. So knowing what you want can help you, figure out where the best place to apply is for you. That's going to help you learn what you want to learn and achieve the goals that you are looking to achieve. But in turn, what also is important with knowing what you want is knowing what you don't want. So you don't get into a miserable situation or a job that you hate and doesn't actually lead you to achieving any of the goals or teaching you any of the things that you want to learn. So know that. But also, leading into my second tip, be open. So in tandem with knowing what you want, you need to be open to other opportunities that may not look and be structured exactly the way you think it should be in your head, that can still get you to where you want to be. When I was looking for internships, I was mainly focusing in on marketing internships because it's something I'd never done and I wanted to know how to market. And I saw Moxie's call for an intern. For some reason, the word's leaving my mind, it's fine. And it was for a production internship, but it sounded really interesting, so I applied anyway. And I got into the meeting with Madeline, who is also part of Moxie, and she's amazing. Who, when we talked, it ended up that this internship checked every single box that I was looking for. It gave me the opportunity to learn more than I expected in the best way possible. But that opportunity would have never happened. Like, that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been open to seeing what it's about. And a lot of times you don't necessarily have to go on the interview, but you can do a little bit of research into the program, into the company, and be like, okay, these people do the kind of thing that I am interested in. And this is what their administration intern does, and that interests me and could get me to where I want to be. So yes, those are my 2 tips. Know what you want / what you don't want, and be open. Good luck.
This 10 Tips Tuesday is about internships and how we get them. We're exploring this idea a lot and really breaking down people's different experiences. My top 2 tips for getting an internship is to do your research in advance and to cast a wide net. So first, research. As you start looking for companies, you need to be looking at what kinds of internships they offer. Is it a performance base, a set design base, a stage management base, a playwriting base? And what are your areas of interest? You also need to look at practicals like, do they offer a stipend? Do they cover housing or not? What level of unpaid is this internship or apprenticeship? Another really big thing is to look at what types of theater they're interested in. I care most about theater for kids right now, and so at each of the internships that I was looking at, as I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, especially right after graduating, I was looking for theater companies that either specialize in or have a focus on theater for kids. And that's just something you kind of have to assess as you go along. What are you interested? Are you looking for a really well-rounded theatrical experience? Some internships will let you do all parts of theater: marketing, design, set crew building, performing, and lots of other things. There are lots of opportunities in that, and some of them are really specialized toward dramaturgy or performance or directing. And so you kind of also have to assess what level of specificity you're looking for in your internship. Doing your research to understand how the company talks about your internship or apprenticeship is really important, because it helps you figure out how best to sell yourself, even as early as your cover letter and your application. If you know how to communicate with them, if you know the language that they use to talk about their program, it will make it a lot easier for you to be able to communicate effectively. The second tip is to cast a wide net. You have no idea what the job market is going to look like. You have no idea what people will be looking for. You have no idea if you are right for the things that people are considering apprentices or interns for. So it's really important to cast a wide net based off of the areas that you're interested in. Don't apply to every internship just because it's available. Do try to specialize to the things that you're most interested in. So if you're most interested in doing a lot of Shakespeare, then focus on companies that specialize in Shakespeare, and trust me, there are a lot of them. Same with children's theater, or if you're looking at a non-performance area of theater, find places that really specialize to that specific area of theater, which again involves using your research to narrow your field a little bit. You don't want to cast so wide that suddenly you're being offered things that you're not really interested in at all, but you do need to cast a pretty wide net and just kind of see what happens. I found that you couldn't really hope for just one thing to pan out. It really helped to have lots of options available and to apply to lots of places. And also casting that wider net is really good for experience purposes as well. I was doing my second round of internship searching during COVID, during the start of COVID, when everybody had gone into appropriate social distancing and quarantining. And so I got to learn a lot about self-taping off a phone, which is all that I have equipment-wise at the moment, holding auditions over Zoom, and having interviews over Zoom and holding interviews over Zoom and Google Hangouts instead of over the phone or in person. You really learn about being adaptable to what these companies are looking for if you're able to cast a wide net and get a really nice experience of what it's like to apply, really. So casting that wide net provides you more opportunities once you have given out your initial applications, and it also gets you more experience and more comfort levels, more comfortable with doing interviews for internships. And again, I've been doing a lot of them remotely, so it's been a nice extra learning curve of how do I do a callback over Zoom? This is so weird. So it really, casting that wide net provides you lots of fail-safes, as long as there are places that you are actually interested in working. So, to review, my top 2 tips: do your research about the company and about what you want so that you can better ask your questions and communicate with potential companies. And 2, cast your net wide. Apply to lots of places as long as you have interest in them, and use it, if nothing else, to gain more experience in this process. Thank you all so much.
Hey, I'm Jake Wallace, and I've interned at New Dramatist in New York, Telsey & Co Casting in Los Angeles, and Studio 10 in Franklin, Tennessee. And here are my 2 tips for getting an internship. Number 1, don't be afraid to be a little personal in your cover letter. Try to explain how their mission correlates to your life. And it's going to add a lot of excitement when they read your cover letter. Second tip, don't be afraid to reach out to your connections. They're there for a reason. And you never know who in your theater department might know who in New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, wherever you're trying to intern. So be sure to reach out to them, take them out to coffee, ask what internship they could see you in, and if they have any advice. Those are my 2 tips.
Hey everyone, my name is Astrid Rotenberry and I interned with Telsey & Company in the fall of 2018, and today I'm going to give you my top 2 tips for getting an internship. So my first tip is definitely to research each company that you're applying to inside and out to the best of your ability so that you're really familiarized with their mission statement, what they stand for, as well as obviously what they do, their everyday operations, so that when you're interviewing, you're able to really know what you're talking about, first of all, and second of all, so that at the end of your interviews with each company, you're able to ask your interviewer at least 2 questions. Those can be whatever you want, and your research should really lead you to what questions you want to ask. If there's anything that you found you couldn't find an answer for, if it's about just what your daily life will be like there, or what they think sets their internship apart from other internships. It can be any question that you want, and it really benefits you in multiple ways in that it shows the interviewer that you're really serious about where you're choosing to intern, but it also gives you a better glimpse of, the way that you're going to be treated there, I think. Their answers can be a really good look into how the employers will talk to you, how they'll take your inquiries seriously. And that's really beneficial knowledge. I think that can ultimately help you down the road if you're deciding between one internship or another. Those questions and their answers can really be a good deciding factor. And it's also really good to know these internships inside and out, because you want to personalize your cover letter for every office that you're applying to. I know that when you're applying to internships, there's so many documents that you need to get ready, and cover letters can kind of seem like a daunting task. They're a little bit different than a resume. They're longer. It kind of feels like, I don't know, for me, my cover letters were kind of the scariest part. But your cover letter is where you really get to set yourself apart from the other applicants. Making them personalized shows each office that you're not just sending out the same letter to 15 different internships hoping that something will stick. It shows them that you really know what they're about, what they do. It shows them that you're serious about wanting to be there. And it's also a place to let your personality shine. So cover letters are really important, and knowing what you're talking about is really going to be the simplest way to set yourself apart from everyone else. And then my second tip is definitely to use your resources. Talk to your professors, talk to any career counselors, talk to your friends, your peers, your classmates, talk to people who are older than you. When I was applying for internships, I talked to as many people as I could who I knew had interned places I was interested in previously. And that really helped me ultimately decide where I wanted to be. But I also feel like getting that information helped me to secure my internship eventually, because I had friends who had interned at Telsey, and I was able to ask them, more about the interview process, what kind of questions to expect, what they're really looking for in an applicant. And if you don't fit what someone's looking for in an applicant and you know that, then finding out from someone early, I think, is, better than applying to a million places and then realizing, oh, I wasn't a good fit for them. But that's besides the point. But also talking to people who, you know, have interned at offices that you're interested in also is really beneficial in that hopefully they can put in a good word for you. If they're not comfortable, you know, reaching out to put in a good word for you, hopefully they will let you mention them in their interview. That's really important to businesses, I think. If they're familiar with a school or a specific program and they've had success with previous interns from those programs, they're gonna be more likely to hire more people from those programs and from those schools because they already know that those people are going to be hard workers. And luckily with Belmont, you know, there are so many students who have done Belmont East, Belmont West, who have interned at tons of excellent offices, who have done amazing jobs. So you should be able to find someone who has some kind of connection somewhere, which hopefully can help you secure the internship. But at the very least, it can give you a better idea of what the office life is like there, you know, how the employers treat the interns, what your day-to-day tasks are gonna be, and that information is invaluable when it comes to where you're gonna be spending, you know, 6 months of your life and not get paid for it. So I hope these tips have been helpful. I hope I've been semi-eloquent. I really tried my best. If you have any questions, feel free to message me, email me, whatever you want to do. But good luck, and I hope you find an internship that you love.
Guys, I'm Maddie Hoag, and I've been super fortunate to intern with some awesome companies like Dallas Theater Center, Bender Casting, RWS Entertainment, and Take 3 Talent Agency, and so I'm excited to share with you guys today some tips on how to land an internship. So one thing that has been super helpful to me in the internship land is just to really put yourself out there and apply for things that maybe you hadn't considered before. For instance, last year I was looking for a casting internship and saw that Take 3 was hiring, and so I applied on a whim and ended up getting the internship, which at the time I was a little bit unsure about. But it actually really helped me to diversify my resume and gave me a new experience in a field that I hadn't really thought about before, and is always something that I could go back to if I needed to. And so it's just really important to kind of stick your head out there and maybe go for something that you hadn't thought about before. And then my second piece of advice is just during the interview process, make sure that you apply things from your resume to the job that you're applying for. For instance, in my interview with Take 3, I talked about the fact that I had worked as a camp counselor at a theater camp for a few summers, and while I didn't personally think that was going to be relevant, half of their clients are kids, and so it really helped them to have an intern that had worked with kids before. And I also related my casting experience to that. So I was working at Take 3 on the other side of the casting experience, so I was submitting people, and so it was helpful for them and for me, honestly, to see the other side of that. So for them, it was helpful to have someone from casting in the office, and for me, it was helpful to be able to see kind of what their process is. And so it was kind of a learning experience for both of us. And so, yeah, those are definitely my top 2 tips, and I hope that those were helpful, and I hope that you guys have some awesome internships that you can land.